EduAI Podcast.
Welcome to the first episode of EduAI Podcast series, The Foundations of AI Integration. I am Mehmet Sahin, working as an assistant professor in Istanbul University, and in this episode, we aim to lay the foundations of understanding how artificial intelligence is being integrated into higher education with a particular focus of social sciences. So artificial intelligence is just no longer a future scenario. It is already shaping how we teach, learn, assess, and design educational experiences. Yet, despite its growing presence, AI continues to raise fundamental questions for educators and institutions. To make sense of this complex and rapidly evolving landscapes, in this episode, we will structure our discussion around the 5W1H framework: what, why, when, how, who, how, and where questions will be asked. And together, these questions will allow us to approach AI integration not in a simply technological as a change, but also as a pedagogical, institutional, and disciplinary transformation. And in this episode, we also introduced the EduAI project, its rationale, and the conceptual framework. To guide us through these foundations, I'm joined today by the Professor Gürel Çetin from the Istanbul University, and he's also the coordinator of EduAI projects. Dr. Ilse Franken from PXL University of Applied Science and Arts joining us from Belgium, and also Professor Musar from Turkey. I would like to thank you for joining us and accepting our invitations. May I kindly ask each one of you to briefly introduce yourselves? Maybe we can start with Professor Gürel Çetin, as he's the coordinator.
Thank you very much, Altug, for your introduction. My name is Gürel. I'm a professor at Istanbul University Faculty of Economics. I've been doing this for, I don't know how many, 20, 25 years at least. So this is one of the research areas that I started to look into 5 years before now, I would say. And we also want to create something that's valuable for implication and policy as well. This is why we also not only conducting various research on it, but also creating various projects, platforms, training materials, frameworks that would also help instructors and institutions how to best address this challenge of AI integration into education. So that's our main challenge at the moment. Looking forward to contribute to any solutions on this matter. Thank you very much again.
Thanks a lot. Dr. Franken, if you can, maybe we will really enjoy it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ilse Franke. I'm head of the Expertise Center Media and Tourism Research of PXL University of Applied Sciences and Arts in Belgium. So in our research center, we conduct practice-oriented research in the domains of communication, journalism, and tourism. We try to help workers in these domains to, for instance, navigate new digital media technologies. And we see that AI is an upcoming question in these fields. So we already have some research projects on the use of AI in journalism and the communication sector, and also how AI such as chatbots can be used with tour operators in Belgium. And I'm also a lecturer in journalism, communication, and tourism as well. And together with the students, I conduct research projects related to the use of AI, but I also incorporate AI in my courses as well.
Thank you so much. And we can continue with Professor Mulsahar. Professor, can you briefly give us an introduction, please?
Sure. I will cut it short. I define myself as a cosmic bridge between science, art, and philosophy. I have worked in all these three fields. I think all of them are connected to each other. I have overall 120 books, some of them in various languages. One of them, a psychology book, is available in nearly 10 languages. I have around 200 musical works in 50 plus languages, some philosophical works as well. AI is my major areas because my PhD is in cognitive science. In fact, I was the first PhD earner in cognitive science in Turkey. And as you know, cognitive science is the basis of AI. It's a combination of 6 areas: psychology, linguistics, computer science, anthropology, neuroscience, and what else? Philosophy, of course. So I had to take all these courses at doctoral level, and after that I continued my works in these fields. Last year I published a book about psychotherapy by AI. I had many seminars about AI tools, AI literacy, especially. One of my books was about sociology of AI. In fact, critical views are always mostly missed and understudied, I think. I think I have some original views because I integrate so many different areas in social science, natural science as well, art and philosophy. I just cut it short. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. We have experts from the area, and we are really glad to have you all. So let's begin with asking a fundamental question to Professor Çetin. Why has AI integration become such a critical issue in higher education today, and what challenges did the EduAI projects aim to address throughout this?
Well, the challenge appeared, not too long ago, actually, when AI was indeed AI was there, but its integration to education, particularly started with students, and it also, the instructors also realized that how to address this challenging issue. They also started to explore individually without a real pedagogical background and a framework to use AI. And there was this gap between this technology being introduced rapidly into all areas, including education, and the gap between how to really effectively, ethically, and responsibly integrate it so that the learning process is pedagogically still sound. So that was the main motivation of the project, to create a structured, research informed and responsible way of roadmap, let's say, roadmap of integrating AI into teaching as well as learning, so that we would be able to address this gap between the technology and the education itself. Because, as you already know, it's not about technology is helping us in education, in different areas. We use softwares. We have been using softwares in different areas of education, but it's also about pedagogy and the content knowledge. So we call this TPEC. The TPEC scale addresses technology as well as personal knowledge, content knowledge of the educator, and the pedagogical processes to create the most effective learning environment. So EduAI mainly aims to address this gap, integrate AI not only as a technology itself, but also to support the pedagogy and creation of content knowledge as well. That was the main idea.
So thank you, Professor. So we can say that EduAI is not just promoting the technology for its own sake, but acting as a mediator also.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a pedagogical partner, and it needs to align with learning objectives, ethical considerations, institutional rules, so that everyone has a standard approach to this. And there needs to be a research grounded framework to address. In EduAI, we already provided some frameworks, some case studies, some documentaries. We are currently working on a learning module, not only on how to integrate AI, but also its social, psychological, and ethical implications. so that the instructors might have a better idea of not only how to integrate AI, but how to integrate it in a pedagogically and ethically responsible way.
Thank you so much. I would like to direct my next question to Dr. Rankin. From your perspective, how is AI transforming education today, and what distinguishes meaningful AI integration from simply using AI tools in teaching and learning?
Yes, so nowadays we see that lecturers are still struggling on, how can we use AI in a meaningful way? We have some mixed opinions also regarding that. There are some lecturers who are mentioning like, oh, I do not want to use AI in my courses. We have lecturers who say, yes, I want to use AI in the courses. It's really important to also focus on what the goals are of our education. So for instance, at PXL, I teach in journalism. So we really look at the workforce because we really want to prepare the students that if they graduate, they have to become or they can become a journalist. So it's really important to look at the field and how AI is incorporated there because if it's incorporated in the work field already, it's also important to prepare our students for the work field in which digital transformations occur. So that's really important. Now, that does not mean that everything has to be AI focused. For instance, for our students, it's still important to be authentic, to be able to write correctly. We really, if we use AI in our courses, we are really focusing on critical reflections and responsible use of AI. For instance, if you're a journalist, it's really important to also do fact checking, to not spread false information. So for our students, it's really important that if they use AI, it's only as a support and not as, for instance, a fact-checking mechanism. So we really need to focus on creating those critical skills and how you can use AI as a supportive tool instead of for instance, a fact-checking tool. So it's really important to still focus on those critical skills that are needed in the in the working domain, but we also need to focus on if AI is used, what are the skills and the additional skills that you need, and then it also comes to those social skills, critical skills. So we really try to incorporate that into the curriculum as well, but it's changing so rapidly. So we really need to stay up to date to focus on how is the workforce using it and how can we prepare our students to use it in a similar way.
Thank you so much. I would like to proceed with our next questions to Professor Mulsahar. Why is developing AI literacy important for meaningful AI integration in higher education? And how does AI literacy translate into teaching and learning practices, Professor?
Okay, actually, we need to have some historical background for that. In the advent of computer and later on through internet, there was a discussion. Particular kind of people were using internet in the beginning because they were the technological, pioneers. Think about mobile phone as well. It was the same. There are just a few people. It starts with just a few people. But then when it spreads to everybody, there are some other things, some sociological issues taking place. For one thing, this term literacy need to be discussed because literacy, it's about reading and writing. But we have many kinds of literacy: social media literacy, health literacy. There are so many kinds of literacy. In fact, metaphor, the underlying metaphor, in fact, may be problematic. But this is the conceptual part, philosophical part. If we go back to social science, I had some works about AI literacy, how it can be developed, what will be the program. One part should be the general introduction, historical background, technological history of technology part. Second part should be how to use AI tools, because people typically, especially young people, are very confident about AI. When you ask them, do you use AI? Do you always use AI? Do you use AI in a good way? They say, yes, I do very well. And they usually ask a typical question, which AI do you use? In fact, if they ask this question, as you know, that means they are really illiterate, terribly illiterate, because the use of AI depends on your purpose. It can be, you can have video, you can shoot video by AI. You need to use another program, another tool. Actually, it's not program. You want to have presentation, another tool. You want to have music, another tool. But people think only about ChatGPT. So the basic thing, actually, the illiteracy, let's say AI illiteracy, is so powerful, so common, and there is a political sociological reason for that, because the technology companies want majority of the people, actually almost everybody, to use AI like this. It will be like pastime activity. You can use it to do so many crazy things. I mean, by crazy, in a positive way. There may be so many things. Think about it. There's a person. That person knows all 7,000 languages that are being spoken on the world now. Also, that friend knows all the dead languages. It's impossible. It's so crazy. There will be so many new innovations, new inventions, because there is no human being who knows 7,000 languages, but AI knows. So there's immense opportunities. But the companies and large corporations, I mean, especially AI companies, they don't want people to use that for that purpose. They want them to use it like opium or drug, like they use other ideological apparatuses, like TV, like football. AI is like an instrument for them to continue their domination. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. We would like to move on with the how we can integrate the teachings, the AI into teaching cycle. I would like to direct my next question to Professor Çetin. At which stages of teaching and learning process does AI integration become most relevant, and how does it differently support learning before, during, and after the class in higher education settings?
Well, during creating this framework that we used for the EduAI project, we asked this question to the instructors themselves. So during the pre-class, we actually, based on their responses, we divided these stages into three: the pre-class, in-class, and the post-class stages. The pre-class is the preparation for the class, right? Planning for the learning objectives, creating the syllabus, learning resources, teaching materials, so on and so forth. In class refers to the classroom activities, mostly classroom activities, usually including games, quizzes, discussions, instant feedback as well from AI tools. And the post-class where evaluation, learning measurement, assessment of students, and critical reflection, analytics, so on and so forth takes place. So these are the main stages and how AI can be used. But as Professor Franken and Professor Musar mentioned, it's important to identify where, how, and when to use AI. It's not just about using ChatGPT, actually. You need to think about how to integrate this throughout the whole teaching and learning cycle. You need to critically think about it rather than just using the learning language models such as ChatGPT and the others. Instead, you need to redesign the learning process. There is a tool, a new tool, how to integrate for a better learning experience that is responsible and pedagogically sound. So there is a design process involved, and it's not just day-to-day use, but an integration. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. As you mentioned, the integration throughout the teaching cycle also it comes with the evolution of the teacher's role, educator's role, we can say. So I would like to direct my next question to the Dr. Franken. How is the role of educators evolving in AI-enhanced education, and what new responsibilities does this bring for teaching and learning?
Yes, so as I already mentioned, at PXL University of Applied Sciences and Arts, we really want to prepare students to enter the workforce. We work with authentic exercises to really stimulate how is it going to be when you eventually end up in, for instance, the journalism field, the communications field, the tourism field, as they are our future workers. So that also means that educators really have to, yes, stay up to date with the newest evolvements in the field, to also think about the fact like, oh, if AI is really being incorporated into the field, we need to prepare our students. And then a next step is to really think about how can we make exercises to really prepare those students. For instance, let me give you an example. If, for instance, in the communication sector, we know that AI is currently being used to create materials. It's not only using one AI tool to create creative materials, but also to creatively incorporate different types of AI tool to come up with a better result. And that is something that yes, also part of us as educators to really focus on, how can you use those different AI tools to create something without losing your own creativity. And we also need to be aware of the rich get richer, poor get poorer phenomenon, because, for instance, if students are not literated with using AI, we know that the students who are already good, they're going to become better. Students who are not that proficient with using AI, they can maybe not use the tools in the correct way to create something good. So that's also responsibility of us as educators to really focus on developing those skills so that they can use AI.
Thank you so much. And maybe we can also discuss the institution's involvement, because as they're another key role, playing a key role within this process. I would like to direct my next question to the Professor Musahar. And how can institutions support the transition toward AI integration in higher education, and in which key areas should this support be focused, Professor?
Bertolt Brecht is a German playwright. In Epic, I will use an analogy. That's why I mentioned him. His approach was called epic theater, and in other terms, they say Brechtian theater breaks the fourth wall. What does it mean? Life is out there. This is just a play. Go out there. This is play. Just don't waste your time with laughing, smiling. Just go out and live your life. That was the meaning. But now, actually, all four walls are broken, because now think about it. What is the use of diploma? I mean, the rich people were saying that, the businessmen, CEOs. But it's true now, because certificates are getting more important. The reason is institutions are very slow to adapt. Let me give you an example. When I used to work at the last university I was working with as a full-time, and in another university where I had a project, they say we will have an AI course, AI literacy course. I told them, okay, if you decide today, maybe next year you can do. It's true, because you have all sorts of bureaucracy. Because of bureaucracy, you cannot do it. But certification is faster, because in that one we have less what we can say professional disease of institutionalization and bureaucracy and paperwork and red tape. So you just do it. And now, because of internet, social media, if we can use it smartly, it's a very fast way of communicating ideas and educating people. In the past, people discuss about, okay, we need to have schools in villages. No, you don't need anymore, because the schools are buildings, universities are buildings. They are separating their area from life. But in fact, you don't need it anymore because you're already connected. The walls are not protecting you from real life. All the time, information is coming out and going in. So all the time like this. So actually, it's useless to have university walls for one thing. The other thing is, it's very personalized now. The education is very personalized. Pedagogy need to adapt, but in fact, mass education, now we are providing mass education at universities. The mass education is a relatively new invention. Actually, it started after French Revolution, because before French Revolution, only a few people could get education, especially rich people. In palace, for example, they can get education. Elites can get education. The masses could not get any education. In fact, this model is changing. So let us not think that mass education, so many people in class, 30 people, 100 people, 200 people, these were rare in history. It started only 200 years ago, and it's changing because it will be hybridized first. For example, in language education, what will happen? It will be like this. Okay, now I give you homework, I give you an assignment. You complete 4 levels at Duolingo. Bring your output. I want to see that you completed 4 levels. After that, I'll give you another homework face to face. It will be like that, hybridized. And after some time, it will be completely personalized. It will be, but I need to have a footnote for you. AI literacy, I need to mention this because it's connected to that. Now, institution, what will they do, right? AI literacy, we discussed about it. But AI literacy is a problematic term. I had many ideas about it, but now when I was talking to you, I have a new idea as well. Actually, it cannot be AI literacy. The term is not correct because people can read, but they can't write. Because if it is literacy, they have to read and write, right? But can they develop AI tools? No. They just consume. They don't produce anything. They just consume what they are given. So that side is missing. Institutions need to think about how we can have full AI literacy, not only in nominal terms. Like literacy, people use AI tools. They use ChatGPT very well. No. How can I write ChatGPT? How can I write another AI tool? How can I have a startup, AI startup? These should be part of AI literacy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. And as you said, we have to act and react quickly and also smartly. And then also, as you mentioned, I think sometimes AI takes away the writing parts. So we just set it up, as you said, to give us the things that just you can write keywords and say to write me a sentence out of it. So as you said, these are things that should be discussed in the future. And I would like to direct my question to all of you. And what transformations do you think are foreseen in social science education with the spread of AI in higher education? And also, maybe we can continue with Professor Musahar first, then we will continue with our guests.
Now, for one thing, you know it very well. Social science is a heterogeneous field. There are so many different areas. Psychology, sociology, history, all of them, if you include history as social science. But think about it, economics, maybe we can add, it's in the middle. There are so many different fields. In fact, although it looks like they have a different, they have similar educational background, the way we teach are completely different because the output is different. The graduate capabilities, expectations from our graduates are different. Psychologists, that person will be in health field. Sociologist, he will be maybe media. So because of that, for one thing, it's very difficult to talk in a short time because social science is heterogeneous. But at the same time, we can say that the major point about social science is, for one thing, critical thinking. So AI education and critical thinking will be the major problematic issue to consider in the upcoming, I wouldn't say upcoming years because the speed is so fast, upcoming hours, I would say, not years, in upcoming hours. I would say that critical thinking, or everybody says critical thinking is missing, but mostly people are critical for wrong reasons. Because they have some intuition. Something is wrong about AI, this AI development. They have some intuitions, but it's not based on science, philosophy, and art. Because of that, they are critical for wrong reasons. In fact, with AI, we can do so many wonderful things in social sciences, education as well. Because I gave you the example of 7,000 languages. Now think about it. We have no human being who knows all fields of social sciences. Now you know we have double major program in many universities, right? Do we have triple major? Do we have quadruple major? Do we have quintuple major? Nothing, right? So we have multiple major areas in one single AI. It's so unbelievable. But at the same time, it will show you again. It will show us again and again that AI is completely ideological. There is no other way, because social science is not like natural science. We're not talking about the planets. We're talking about social life. Ask any kind of AI. What do you think about abortion? What do you think about LGBT? What do you think about immigration? There will be quite different views about it. What do you think about religion? What do you think about Palestine? What do you think about Gaza? What do you think about Israel? What do you think about Ukraine, Russia? So Venezuela, Trump. So there will be so different views, and you cannot separate all of these from social science education. So what I will say is, I think when we apply AI to social science education, especially in this area, default lines of AI will appear completely like a bald man.
I would like to direct the same question to you, Professor Çetin. What do you think that the transformations are foreseen in social sciences and integration of AI?
Well, I agree. We are not anymore looking for one correct answer. We are looking for alternative answers, and probably comparing those answers with rational and judgment. So our assessment and the way we measure learning will change, because it's as Professor Musa mentioned, it's not only about reading, right? It's also about creating something. So we need to integrate that creative measures into how do we teach and assess the learning process of students. So that's one of the transformations. And I also believe that we also have a responsibility. It's not just the positive sciences. They are looking for one single answer, but it's our responsibility to look into how to integrate this not only through education, but through all socio-demographic structure and economy, so on and so forth. This is the responsibility of social sciences to prepare students for the use of AI, not only in their learning process, but throughout their whole life, how to use it responsibly, let's say.
Thank you so much, Professor. And also, I would like to direct the same question to Dr. Branken. And what transformations do you foresee?
Yes, I do think that we need to look at the curriculum and what we give, and also which tasks we give to the students. For instance, if we let them write a research paper that can be fully written with AI, what's the use of their own research skills then? Then maybe, for instance, if we see papers fully written with AI, then we see that our assessments are not in line with what has been done by students. So we really need to consider what we are going to teach, which skills are important in the field, and critical skills. Using AI in an ethical and responsible way is very important. But also, if we look at social sciences, it's still a social field. For instance, one concrete example is if you're studying journalism and you're becoming a journalism, it still remains important to go out there, to look for information, to talk to people. So those skills that we are already teaching, such as social skills, they remain important. It's the tasks and the skills that we teach that can also be done with AI. There we should think about how can we incorporate it in the curriculum and how can we still teach knowledge that is important for the field. So that's really important to think about the curriculum, the goals, and which assessments and tasks we are going to give, and also maybe use AI as a teacher or learning tool. For instance, if you use AI and you have a certain argument, for instance, if my students have to write a paper and they have certain arguments and I really want to challenge their arguments, maybe they can use AI as a tool to challenge their arguments, to challenge their visions, more as a talking partner for them. So we really need to look at how can AI be used in an efficient way as a sort of a learning tool, but also how can we use AI still in a critical way, in a responsible and in an ethical way. For instance, that also means when you are doing interviews with people, when you have sensitive data, are you really going to share it with AI? And those are the things that I'm currently trying to teach my students, but I also know that it's changing very rapidly, very quickly. So this means that we have to, that we still have to change. We still have to be updated on the newest transformations in it, and that we also need to be prepared to adapt our curriculum as well.
Thank you so much. So as you have all pointed out, I think the integration part also comes with sometimes with anxiety too. So it's totally understandable for educators, but not just for us, of course, researchers and in many areas to feel that way. So I would like to, before we close the session, I would like to ask each one of you for maybe one key message for educators who may feel unsure about integrated AI into their teaching processes. Maybe we can start with Dr. Franken, if you.
Yes, so I indeed feel that there is still with teachers some mixed opinions about the use of AI, and there is still some anxiety to incorporate AI in the curriculum. But I just want to mention that AI does not need to be integrated in each task, in each course that you give. Still, for social sciences, social skills still remain important as well. So also focus on those skills as well, and they still remain relevant, and also focus on skills that need to be achieved, that need to be that are important when using AI as well. So those are the skills that you should also focus on in your courses.
Thank you so much, Professor Musahar.
In AI in education settings discussions for major education areas are often missed. One message for each. History of education. From history of education, we can say that to understand AI better, we need to think about what were the functions and uses of education. Why people are getting educated? I mean, authorities decide about it. Why do they are getting educated? History gives us a lot of lessons that may be a good way to understand AI literacy as well. Second is sociology of education. That way we can discuss about the message, let's say, not discussion, but the message is who are educated, who are not educated, who are not miseducated. You know, there's a philosopher, street philosopher, who is Celal the Bearded. He says this kind of illiteracy is only possible, can be possible only by education. Because, you know, education is also controlling. It's a way to control people. The way the curriculum is set. We should remember that. Third is philosophy of education. We need to read Plato, because Plato is one of the first philosophers of education. And from Plato, of course, we need to come to, for example, Dead Poets Society. Robin Williams film. Very good film. That teacher model was actually a reflection of a philosophy of education, existential kind of education. These will have implications for AI. Finally, psychology of education. This is actually the most well-known among these four, but still missed. For one thing, in one of my works that was published in AI and Society, I was discussing the following: how AI will influence child development. Because now people, the kids who were born now, actually they are university students. But when the generation, the age group, I wouldn't say generation because I don't agree with that term as well. The age group that were born in the beginning of 21st century was born in internet. They didn't check Britannica, any kind of encyclopedia. They just check Wikipedia. The ones that were born 10 years later in the 2010s were born in social media. And the ones that are getting born nowadays are born in AI, generative AI, not AI, mostly generative AI. These have implications for that, because each time they grow up, the social norms are getting changed. Now we had the movie Her, where we have an AI lover. The main character had love with AI. He fell in love with AI. This was a movie, but it will be very common when the babies, the kids grow up. It will be possibly 2030s. It will be like that. Education will be influenced by that as well, because personalities are changing. And one more thing as an end, don't forget from psychology of education again. Don't forget the motivation is very important. Why we're in a class? One reason is we're getting socialized. It will be personalized with AI in education, but and also we have mood disorders getting more common. It will be very much common. It will be maybe the norm. Mood disorders will be norm. Borderline personalities will be very common. The reason is very simple. Look at how people use social media. One day you receive an obituary, you say sorry, condolences. Next post is some good news. Congratulations. Cry, smile, cry, smile, cry, smile. Anger, calm down. Anger, calm down. That happens in seconds. That breaks the neural networks. So this will have implications for education as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, and also Professor Çetin, if you have any.
Well, AI is just a tool, but you don't need to be an expert to integrate it meaningfully and responsibly into the teaching processes and improve the learning experiences of students. Just explore. There are such platforms and structures such as EduAI that offer you various tools and learning modules that you can go through. Just explore those tools that might be helpful for you to reach the overall objective, which is the same, right? Improving the learning experiences of students so that they can become experts and better persons in what they do, and for the society as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. As we're ending the episode, I would like to personally thank all of our guests today for their valuable contributions and helping us unpack the foundations of AI integration into higher education. It has been a lovely episode to have you all. And also, we would like to invite our guests, our listeners, to explore the project resources, literature, upcoming episodes, and visit the EduAI project website. Thank you all for having this beautiful podcast series, and we look forward to another episodes that we will be having. See you all.
Guest participants: Professor Gürel Seaton, Istanbul University, coordinator of the EduAI project, focusing on AI integration and pedagogical innovation in higher education. Dr. Ilse Vrumkon, PXL University of Applied Sciences and Arts, head of the Expertise Center Media and Tourism Research, focusing on digital transformation and AI. Professor Mulsaha Uloshbasar Jezjan, independent researcher, cognitive scientist and interdisciplinary researcher focusing on AI literacy, sociology of AI, and education. Moderated by Dr. Mehmet Altug Sahin, Istanbul University.
Partnership: Istanbul University, University of Aveiro, EduLearn, the European Teachers Academy, USTAD, University of Tetova, Promo Partner, Metropolitan College, EVBB, co-funded by the European Union.